Warmest of greetings, friends, and welcome to Dicefunction Discussion, the official Dicefunctional podcast where a bunch of friends sit around, talk about our D&D game, as well as some other occasional D&D related topics, and we share them with you, our wonderful audience, as always. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3. Glad you guys found us here on wherever it is that you found us. We're expanding where we are. We're expanding what we're doing. It's 2020. Exciting things are happening. I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it as well. No real housekeeping or anything like that. If you've already found us, other than following us on Twitter, so that way you get announcements at Dicefunctional with an underscore at the end. It's pretty easy to remember, kind of like the title of this. Anyway, in this episode 3, we'll be discussing episodes. Was 55 this last time?
It is 55.
Good. I'm going to keep the trend of never actually discussing what episode that we're going into before we discuss the episode. Anyway, I am Jace. If you don't already know my voice by now, shame on you. I am the voice of Gale. I also do intros. I also do other stuff on the channel. With me today, we have what I like to dub the OG podcast crew. We have Kole, we have Becca, and we have Jalli. Welcome in. Exciting episodes, fun stuff. I've got weird energy. I hope you guys can keep up with me today.
I'm really feeling it.
It's here.
It's
It is here.
I like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Listen, we got to start the new year off right.
Mm-hmm.
With not only some awesome energy, but like literal bombshells being dropped on the crew. So for those of you, quick recap of where we were 55. Yeah, a lot.
Would you like to go over it, or do you not remember?
Yeah, no, I'm like trying to figure out where to even start. So the crew got back, well, after guarding the town a little bit more, Belmare, swapped places with a stand-in crew to help protect the town after talking to Avero. Then went back to town. Everyone tried to check and see if Gale was okay, and I promise you Gale was okay. That is everyone except for Maddie noticed. Well, Maddie noticed that Gale wasn't right. Anyway, and then a bunch of discussions happened, including the bombshell being dropped that Maddie's mom is well and fine, and also in hell. Locked up in hell. That's great. Things are awesome.
Abaddon. But,
yeah. Abaddon hell. It's one of the hells. My apologies to those who are very specific to the D&D lore. I always play a little bit of fast and loose with it anyway. So a lot of the people here had interesting stuff happen to them. I'm actually going to start with Becca. So
okay.
Surprise. So Deah is hearing all of this. Again, as I mentioned before in the intro before the last episode, Deah is still pressing the snooze button on kind of processing anything. Now all of a sudden here's all of this. Like, is this one of those, like, yay, I get to completely ignore all the bad shit that's been happening? Or is this one of those, well, okay, fuck, well, I guess I got to deal with this now?
That's a good
Tell
question.
us. That's a good question.
Gosh, I have to kind of decide what to say without giving too much away for the future.
As always, if it's something that's going to come up, just say it's going to come up in game.
Yeah.
So we're not here to spoil things. We're here to answer things that have already
Yeah.
kind of come up.
Yeah. It's definitely probably something that's gonna come up a bit later, but I think I can kind of tease a little bit that it's getting harder to hit snooze.
Mental breakdown incoming.
Incoming mental breakdown. Give it like a few sessions, and she'll probably have another breakdown. But we'll see. Maybe it won't happen. We'll have to see how
But
events turn out.
I'm gonna be edgy and mope in my room all day kind of breakdown, or
No,
like
she's-
I'm just gonna start crying and I need a hug breakdown?
She's kind of past the like inaction part of her moping. She's really someone who probably prefers to be busy. So after those initial like few days after Cal left, like just physically couldn't do anything, and now I think she's a little bit past that, so she can um figure out how to not go back there. And it involves a lot of distraction, but she's used to it. But that's her go-to.
There's a fair amount of distraction that is available currently,
Yeah.
as we are thus finding out. Now to Kole, kind of a honestly, I don't even know how to ask this of Addax or not, but and I know there are a couple questions, and I know Jalli dropped a couple in here, kind of pertaining to what Addax in general, and we'll kind of step into those because these kind of paired directly with those. So Addax has been, first of all, found the blue cloaks, found Fortune's blade through a friend, then went to a tomb, got terrified by some strange dude who was worshiping a strange god, fought a couple different types of zombies, has almost died multiple times, found out that people can be resurrected, found out that Gale's the last of his kind, found out that Maddie's mom is locked up in one of the hells, also
He
was
doesn't
essentially
actually know
shoved
that
a
part.
cloak and go, hey, you're gonna join us now. Oh, and then also like 6 other things are terrible. Like and he's still not back yet.
Nope. To be
Yeah,
fair,
he doesn't even know about the.
he doesn't know that
Oh,
the
that's
mom's
right.
an Abaddon yet.
Oh, great. So let's add on to that.
That'll be a thing. Hang on.
What are Addax? Let's start with, because I kind of like Jolly's questions because they kind of cover it. What are Addax? What are the opinions that Addax has joining the Blue Cloaks? Like, he's been kind of thrust into this, like, hey, you're gonna join us because you're kind of a part of this now.
Yeah.
Is it like full panic, or is it like measured panic where you're like, okay, this is completely unexpected, but
So
I can roll with this.
he's not experiencing panic so much because he did know about the blue cloaks back in Alex. So like I was actually chatting with Connor about this. So it's like legitimately know where their headquarters is back in Alex. So it's like he is familiar with them. He's just never joined them before. I feel like I almost wonder if he was given the opportunity to. I haven't chatted about that part with Connor, but I kind of like the idea that he was almost offered a job at the Blue Cloaks over in Addax, but he turned that one down. And then this one sort of got thrusted on him. And he's not panicking because it's just kind of like whatever. But he is a smidge annoyed because he did not want to join the Blue Cloaks, like at all. He doesn't really see the point. And he just doesn't technically see himself as an adventurer. And like in this context, I consider an adventurer, or at least he does, is someone who is basically just like a mercenary kind of thing. You go and do a job, maybe help people for money. And well, he's done that kind of thing before. I feel like he's never done those kinds of jobs directly for the money. It's always just been sort of, they've needed my help, I'll go help because I'm able. And maybe there's something that I have an interest in that's going on as well. And he's not happy about joining the Blue Cloaks, and he's a smidge more annoyed at Deah because she definitely was the main person, strong strong arm him into this, but he doesn't care. He's just a little irked, but that's about it.
That's the
Okay.
awkward part because Deah was fully trying to ask him, and it just kind of happened.
Well, here's the thing. You said like, yeah, he was going to join. You said he's joining. Asked him, and then he got talked over by like Avro and everyone else, and it's like, well, okay.
We're
Gail
great
was
at
a little forceful about
communication.
Yeah.
Gail was just sort of like, yeah, you're kind of a part of this now, so here you go.
And that's another thing that is that he's like, you're a part of this, but then never actually explained what he's a part of. Just like, I don't understand. Like, what is
That's
this?
what happens when you have the intelligence score instead of the wisdom score. The wisdom score is like, all right, fuck it, let's go. Intelligence score is like, no, I need the explanation first. What is this thing that I am joining? Where I need to know the contract before I sign it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, Jalli. So obviously the revelation that, hey, by the way, your mom is like a super powered celestial, and oh, by the way, she's in one of the hells, is like heavy, to say the least.
Yeah.
Is that something, with all that Maddie has seen and experienced so far, is that something that she's easily able to take in stride just yet, or is that still just sort of like, okay, what the hell?
Well, she's more like, I don't know, she's having a hard time processing, like, well, she's there, but why though? That's the thing. Obviously it's gonna take a long time to ask dog.
Yeah.
That dog.
I hate that dog so much. Oh, God, that dog. Oh my God, what is that name? But yeah, it's not. I don't think she's ready to like go in and rescue her. Obviously, it's just a really long time to process. Okay, so what's the next thing we have to do? But I mean, it's not immediate action to rescue her right now. I mean, obviously, if we go down there, we're gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. She knows that. If that's hell, yeah. I don't want my friends to die just for my mom. That's not worth it.
We need a Rocky montage before we do that.
Rocky montage.
Gotta do some training, man. Gotta do some training.
Yeah, run
Oh
up
my
those
God.
steps and then run back down. Lift
Yeah.
some weights.
That's what Gail did.
Oh my
Ran
God.
around a lot.
I mean-
and punched things and swung his glaive at things.
I say that, but I feel like half the party probably couldn't actually lift weights.
No, probably.
Not with my -1 strength score.
I want to say most of the party has a -1 to their strength.
Yeah.
It's kind of hysterical.
Most people went with dex over strength.
Yeah, I think it's like half the party.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, dear.
like no strength. Anyway.
Morgan's neutral. The Fearbolgs and Mercy have
Morgan
positive.
has a
Everyone else
Morgan has a
is
positive
negative.
strength score.
No, she's neutral. It's only a +0.
Is it a +0?
Yeah.
I thought it was a +1.
Oh, she might have gotten a +1 depending on where she put her. No, because she put one in int, one in dex when we leveled.
Right. Max
So-
upper deck. Right.
So she's still +0. So
Okay.
most people are wimpy.
It'd be funny watching them all just like punch like slabs of meat. It wouldn't go well.
We'll be
Gail
more
would just be
bruised than
sitting
the
there
meat.
eating his because he's hungry.
Exactly.
I'm already strong enough to eat mine or punch mine. I just want to eat it. There's no point in wasting it. Anyway, so there are a lot of questions being thrown around here in our Discord chat. By the way, for future episodes, since hopefully a bunch of these will start to be uploaded here soon, as soon as I start getting these actually edited, you can always ask us questions anytime. Twitter is probably the best way right now at Dicefunctional with an underscore, or on the previous week's VODs. When you see them go up, feel free to leave questions there, and we'll try and grab a few from there and try and grab a few from Twitter if you guys have them. But I know we'll stick with Jalli for this. I know a question that Kole posted in here is from what you've told us, it sounds like Maddie's had a bit of a lonely childhood. How is she feeling with the group being so on board and ready to go essentially to hell for her, slash like helping her mother? Is that something that's like comforting for her, and it's like, hey, like I'm actually finding siblings? Or is it sort of like, well, fuck, now I gotta, keep these guys from like literally jumping into the fire to, help me out?
Oh god. That question. I mean, she would kind of abstain for going to hell for like a little bit. Yeah, she did have a lonely childhood because she didn't really have any siblings and she only had her dad and her cat.
Yeah.
But she considers the group her family. That's all I have to say about that. So she doesn't want you guys to die just for her mom. That's the one thing she's worried about. If no one's gonna make it out alive.
That is a worry, yeah.
Yeah. It's just yeah, she doesn't want anyone to die. I mean, obviously this is gonna be a very stake mission to just rescue one person, but at what cost?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. No, it absolutely makes sense. Especially like, you've got your friends. Oops, sorry about that. You've got your friends, and it's, you don't want them. It's like, hey, it's only good if everyone comes out of this alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good if, we have to save one person and then bury another. That kind of defeats the purpose.
We don't even know if it's going to be one. It might be two, but who knows?
Could be more. The whole stuck in hell thing. The multiple stories written about that. Just badness all around. But yeah, no, there's definitely some interesting stuff coming up with Maddie. Now we'll move on to our boy Addax. Yeet. Now, there was a question here and I missed it. Where is it? I know what my question is. The question from Becca is, so now that Addax has hung around with the Blades for a bit longer, we've kind of gotten, he doesn't like being dragged into things and stuff like that. Just kind of in general, what are his feelings overall about the Blades right now? Like kind of if there are any like striking like first impressions for second impressions, or if it are there any other thoughts kind of regarding, everyone at first seemingly kind of being, well, most of the party kind of being like, okay, like, hey, like, yeah, you can help us out for this thing, but like, you're not part of us, to all of a sudden, like, yeah, you've been part of one of us, like, come on, let's go. Or is it one of those, or does he think that if you could like ever like really like become his friends, or a couple would never become his friends?
See, he definitely likes Maddie. He sees a decent chunk of one of his sisters in her, so he definitely likes her, and wants to help her while she can. That, and she's been one of the nicest people to him, so he's definitely on board with like the cult of Maddie must protect this beam.
Oh god.
That's fair. I believe that's one of the calling cards to entry into the Fortune's Blade.
Yep. Must join Cult of Maddie, step 1.
Yes.
his interest in Gale has grown rapidly. I like to think it started off as like when they first met, I was like, oh hey, another fearable. It's kind of just like it's kind of like you knew that person in high school and you were kind of friends, and then you like lose touch for like 5-10 years, and you see them and it's like, oh hey, yeah, that's a thing. Okay, hi. And then that's just kind of what it was. And then it's like, yeah, I've died and been resurrected. It's just like, wait, what? Yeah, I'm the last of my kind. Wait, what? And he's just like, he's so confused. And it's like, what happened to you? And it's just like, thought you were like this, cool, chill dude, fearable, nice to see
Oh yeah.
outside of Alex. And like, oh, there's a lot going on there.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how that progresses because he has his own stuff to deal with, which is part of the reason why he took that little leave of absence. But he got called back right away before he could do anything. So if they explain things to him, it'll be interesting to see. Poor boy is stressed. Let's put it that way. Deah and Rudy are very, very tense. And he thinks they need to calm down. It's like, just like chill, like nothing's as bad as it seems.
Calm down. Are you sure?
Yeah, his initial thought of Mercy is that he likes her because she's a big fan of like animals. I don't think he's picked up on the fact that she doesn't like him. Because as far as social stuff goes, Addax is not the most insightful. Ro, he's kind of not sure what to think of. I think that's partly been because Jill just hasn't been there. So he hasn't just had a chance to really interact with her. Maury surprises him because for someone who says she's so old, doesn't act like it. Which I feel bad for saying, but like,
Sorry, I lost you.
it's like you try to be so mature, but then you like act like a child, and it's like, okay. He's confused there.
I mean, it kind of okay. I totally get where you're coming from. It's kind of funny though because it plays into the whole. It plays into the elf thing because in elf years, Maury is kind of like a teenager-ish, like that early stage. So it's funny where it's like, hey, I can play the number card of it on you, but it's like not in terms of maturity of the race. It's like you're still coming along.
I think at least in this world, they come to maturity at around the same age as humans, to make it not weird, but proportionally speaking, yeah, for sure.
And I feel like if Addax was like more in tune with like people, he could probably pick on the fact that she tries to act like an adult but fails, which means she probably had to try and grow up a lot faster than she really needed to. Which I feel like kind of vibes with what little we know about Morgan's story. So, but he doesn't look that deep when it comes to people. So,
yeah.
And that's been really interesting, going from Cal, expertise and insight, max wisdom, to Addax, who's not even proficient in insight and doesn't care. And it's like, It's been fun to play with, though.
Yeah. It's like, I will trust you with what you say.
It's like he believed Abro when it was like, yeah, you got to make a blood pact. And it's like I don't really want to do
that. that was pretty funny. I definitely enjoyed that. But no, I think it's an interesting take, and I think that might be something interesting, at least for the next little while going forward, and just seeing where Addax is as we get through different milestones with him, especially seeing as he missed some of the some of the early weirdness that started to kind of bring everybody together. But now that we're getting into some of this stuff, like, in my opinion, what's going to be like the genuinely heavy stuff is we're just cresting on what that's about to be. So it's about to get real interesting.
Oh yeah, and he's known y'all for a week.
Yep.
Like, hi, like we like doing weird things. It's like, okay, cool, sure, I'll go with you. And it's like, boom. It's like, oh, okay.
It's like that. It's that college orientation from hell where you're just like, what did I just step into?
Oh yeah.
Oh no. And the rest of the group's like, nope, there is no time to explain. You just need to keep up. We will do what we can. Speaking of great parents, so going on to Deah, because we got a couple questions for you, Becca. We got one here from Jalli. It says Deah could have simply paid back the muffin to Maddie, then go to the bakery. Why did she bother to tell Maddie she was planning on visiting?
That one I can answer because I don't think it'll ever really come up because I know she did it. And Finn is hella awkward, but
Finn, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she didn't go to Maddie or do any of that, or tell Maddie because it was something between her and Finn in her mind, and trying to decide what you guys already know. Oh, it's whatever, but basically in her mind, like, she's in a position where she doesn't have to ever have freebies, so she doesn't want to be like in debt per se. So when he gave her like a free muffin and she regained her mind a little bit, she went back and was like, okay, this guy gave me a muffin, I have to pay this back because like he doesn't deserve to give, like, not that he doesn't like deserve to give out free muffins, but it's like he shouldn't have to or whatever. Like, I'm not type of person to receive handouts of muffins.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then she overpaid him both out of embarrassment of being seen like that. And kind of like a little bit of like interest basically, and extra thank you for being nice at the time. Yeah.
You saw me at Lois. If you tell anyone, there's a dagger with your name on it.
Yeah, basically. There was a note taped to the underside of the gold coin, and no one knows this. Not even Connor, but it says, if you tell anyone, I'll fucking kill you. Like, no, I'm
the part is Ben hasn't even found it yet. It's just sitting in his coin purse under his thing.
That's gonna be
Yep,
paid.
This was a normal transaction.
Someone on accident, like someone's gonna give him like what's like an electrum piece. He's gonna give back a gold coin. And they're gonna be like, what?
The fuck?
Watch
it's gonna pass like 4 people's hands, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be someone giving like a king some money, and it's like, oh wait, what is this? Like, I didn't know that was on there, and then they just die.
Yeah.
Welcome to the butterfly effect. For no reason.
Don't write threats on coins, everyone. That's the moral. Not worth it.
Oh yeah. And then one more question from Jalli about Deah. After visiting the bakery, did Deah go back to the docks where Cal left, or did she simply go back to a random dock to rest and clear her mind? And I'll kind of add to that. Is it something where being by the sea calms her, even though now she's essentially kind of tied to the god of the hunt? Or is it, or it, again, is it just tied to now, like, okay, trying to process what it is that I lost?
I have to go back on this. Yeah, I do have to mention to the podcast that this, if you only listened to the session, this was a character direction I just kind of wrote in the chat to not interrupt the scene that was going on. So after she paid back Finn, she went to the docks and just kind of stayed there for maybe like an hour or two or whatever before going back to the estate. And it's very much kind of a calming thing because like the smell of the sea and watching all the people work on the dock, it kind of brings her happier memories, I guess. So it kind of helps put her in a like a headspace where she's just more at peace with what's going on.
Yeah. And just sort of something from my memories that this is not the first time she's just gone to the docks TM to think and
Yeah, she's
chill.
had different reasons before to just go to the docks, I will say. But yeah, a lot of the time it's what she likes. And even like being attached to the god of the hunt now, like that doesn't really change that. And besides, like a god can hunt on the sea or whatever. Like there's fishing and whaling,
Sharks
whatever.
hunt. There are hunters in the
Shark.
sea.
She's a shark in the water.
Okay, but answer the other part of the question. Was it the same dot Cal left at, or is it a different one?
I cannot. I don't know. Gonna be fully honest, I don't know. I didn't
Well,
think.
do you think she would or not?
I don't think it's connected in her mind like that. It might have been the same doc, but I don't think it mattered to her. Like the emotion, she doesn't associate the specific doc with leaving.
Interesting.
It's just like that. Yeah, that part of the memory wasn't the more important part. So she probably doesn't even. Well, she probably remembers which doc it was, but I mean, it's just the harbor,
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, like smelling the sea was more important than avoiding any like harbor memory.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
So there's also a question for you, Jace.
There are a couple Gale related questions. We should go through those because I actually there was some interesting Gale stuff that happened. So we'll start with Cole's. So this question sounds like Gale's gearing up to tell more about his past. And some of the finer details of what happened to him. Is this the first time that he's opened up about this kind of thing? Or has he confided this in someone else, such as previous groups he's been in? And then follow up to that, is he looking forward to getting this off his chest, or is he more hesitant as it brings up bad memories that he'd rather not dwell on? He hasn't talked much about his past at all. Mostly because it's a very spotty thing. He wasn't ever with one group for very long. He's mentioned before he hasn't ever been with any one particular group for very long. Mostly because either he got run out of town, or it was like, okay, mission's over, whatever, bye, or a bunch of them died. And so no, there hasn't been a chance that he's had to confide this with anybody before. This isn't a thing that he has revisited at all, and I think it worked out very interestingly in game because, to answer the second part of the question, he's not either looking forward to getting this off his chest or hesitant about it. This ended up being more of an affirming moment for him.
In what way?
He in the way that he remembers what his oath is. Like he remembers when he took his oath. Like, and as for those of you that aren't fully aware, Gale has taken the oath of the ancients. He, in that moment, and it worked out really well that happened in game, replaying that memory of his mom and Irith dying reminded him of the oath that he took, like specifically the oath that he took, which reminded him of why he kind of started off where he was and why he is where he is now. There are two main parts to his backstory, and we're getting really close to where he's actually probably going to tell the part about where his oath came from. So I'm personally really excited about that. And for Gale, it's more like, oh yeah, by the way, like this is like the actual oath that I've taken, and this is what I'm actually fighting for, instead of just sort of like vagaries. Because again, one other thing to keep in mind with Gale, he's also, it's been what, 60 some odd years since that all happened for him. And he's just been on his own wandering most of that time. And that part, like, it's been the basics, like the basic driving force of it all. But for the most part, it hasn't mattered to him. So that all kind of just fell into the background. That those become those legal, like those little details that, you forget about. But now they've been kind of forced up to the front of his mind, and he's like, oh crap, like no, there really was like a solid oath that I took, and this is where this comes from, and this is why I am who I am. So that's gonna be some fun. I will say it is a bad memory, so there's a little bit of hesitation, because it is a very bad memory, and that's why that's the thing that came up when that necklace popped. Now, to Jalli's question, ever since the encounter with said amulet, Gale has shown signs of insomnia and stress. Will he eventually talk to the party about the tragic events that he saw again? Is he comfortable telling them? He is. Here's the thing with Gale. He is driven to a degree that could be labeled as insanity. It's again with Gale, kind of an almost unintentional theme that's developed with him, and in how I've created this character is he's very much riding a lot along this razor's edge. He's this paladin who is this, hey, I have this belief in, this control, this, I'm going to fight for good. There's something that I stand for. And then there's the blind rage of being a barbarian, where it literally nothing matters. All I'm going to do is kill. And there's a little bit of both in his backstory, but it all stems from the fact that he knows deep down that he's going to survive, and that he's going to just continue going forward. Like there isn't anything that's going to stop him. He will endure, he will survive, and he knows that he can survive. And that's kind of where that all comes from. And that's why he's comfortable talking about the really, really dark stuff, and why he can make light of all of it. Is he's like, this bad stuff happens. And the weird thing is in his mind, this kind of bad stuff that happened to me kind of happens to everybody. Obviously not on that level, because what happened to him is fucking terrible. But in his mind, he's like, no, like he has that empathy where he's like, no, everyone has that moment where you have that one thing that you fear that happens, and it's really, really bad. And we can all push through it.
Well, gee, I can think of one thing.
Exactly. But no, and that's, I guess that's kind of where, yeah, Gale just he just does not yield. That's not something that he knows how to do, and that's I I don't think he has the capability to like specifically just yield. Like he'll slow down or like find a different angle, but he won't just yield. Like he will keep moving forward. And that's just, this is kind of his thing.
Gale's preferred method is through, not around.
Yes. Bad sign on the wall. Just take down the entire wall. We don't need that wall. It's not needed right now. Get it out of here. But yeah,
So-
no, I'm excited. And it was, and I will say it was less insomnia, and it was more, he kind of alluded to it, and I know it'll come up again, but it was more the fact that he wanted to make sure that that town was safe.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that he was healthy enough to push through longer. And he knew that if he was ready, that if one of these things came up again, that he could, if not destroy it, he could at least hold it down long enough to make enough of a fucking racket to get everybody else in there and keep more people from dying. So it was less about, I don't want to sleep, and more about, I have a fucking job to do, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm awake until it's done.
Yeah.
And
I
when
got
it was
that vibe.
done, that's why he was like, all right, now I can sleep. And yeah. And then he just passed out because it's just like, yep, sleep.
Sleep time.
Oh yeah. But yeah, and then Jalli brought up a couple kind of everyone questions, and those are kind of the ones those will be our last of the questions, and then we'll just kind of go around and kind of
you
get everyone's
sort
thoughts
of
on interesting stuff
have
that's coming up. Yeah,
Just a
cool.
light question, if you don't mind me.
Yeah.
So you keep talking about how, Gale's writing this line, and in the past you've mentioned how Gale's writing the line between, going Grim Hunt or staying Oath of the Ancients, and
Mm-hmm.
he's recently swapped, I guess, like, the source of his magic, in theory. Like, he used to be, like, channeling nature, TM, and now, in theory, he's channeling, Pharasma. And then recently, Deah's also, become this warlock and is now having magic and is channeling that deity. And this sort of goes back to Addax as well, is because, and it'll definitely come up more in game, but part of the reason why Addax is not okay is because when he cast the sign, he connected to the King in Yellow a bit, and so like he felt him. And that's part of the reason why his head's not exactly where he wants it to be. So
Mm-hmm.
my thought to you all is like, how does your magic feel to your character in your mind? And like, has specifically for you, Jace, like how has it changed, that feeling changed at all when you went from nature to Pharasma and that whole kind of thing? How does your character's magic feel to them?
I'll
that
start with
makes
this
sense.
one. So Gale's magic specifically, his kind of just his ability, he has zero fucking clue. he just, I will be 100% honest. He doesn't understand it. And there's more information to be told in his backstory. There's a lot about his early days that he's willing to talk about. But as far as like what he's channeling or who he's channeling, one thing he knows is it's from in him. He's not he talked about following the green faith, and that's why he mentioned like he was going to give up his mother's faith. It was his mother's faith was the green faith. His mother followed the green faith. That's why he followed it, but he never believed in it as strongly as she did. And then as far as channeling Pharasma, it was more of a she's the goddess of fate. It lined up for him to where a lot of the stuff that was happening to him seemed fated, like it was going to happen. the whole thing with Mercy's brother, like that to him, with the whole way that the interaction went, like he was essentially told that it was fated that he wasn't going to die. Like he was in the in between, and he was straight up told when he got there, yeah, you're not actually going to die, you're just waiting. Like you're not here to die, you're just here to visit for a little bit. There have been multiple points between being saved by his his mother and his best friend, to other events in his backstory, to meeting Maddie, to finding that she's this very rare being that needs to be protected, to all this other stuff. In his mind, it's all fate. So he's like, okay, well, there's this god of fate, and then also apparently this god of fate's interested in me. Okay, well, I can at least find out more about this fate, and I can continue along this journey. And he was leaning more towards, oh, well, maybe death is more part of it, but especially lately, it's been like, nah, fate is the part of it, and the power, as it's always been, is it's from inside me. And just being part of being a paladin is, it's like, yep, nope, it's all on me. It's my magic. This is how I do it. So that's where his coming. And as far as how it feels,
Yeah.
Honestly, it's light. It's like warm. Honestly, it's like the summer sun. It's just nice and warm. Like that. That's how he would describe it.
Yeah, Maddie, how does your magic feel? How does Deah feel about having magic in general?
I've been thinking about that. Yeah. Yeah, I can take it next, I think. So Deah is currently a level 1 warlock. Just one. Which I think kind of currently reflects a little bit of how she's feeling about it. In that kind of awkward for her. She hasn't used it a whole lot. She's tried a couple times. She's tried to use Booming Blade, and it only succeeded once because she kept missing. And she cast her first spell, I think 2 sessions ago, with Zephyr Strike, which as a spell, it kind of just gives you a little boost. Like it doesn't have like any fantastic flares or anything. It's just like, I'm moving a little bit faster and I see where I need to hit for this next move.
Pull it, Tangier. Smell the thread.
I smell it. But in the way I kind of see it, like as a player, the way I kind of see her magic is, she's almost channeling Aristil directly, and it's not exactly that, I know, but it's his magic, and it goes through her, and she shapes it, which is kind of how she views it as well. So her magic, and we'll be seeing this as she levels up in Warlock. You'll be seeing it because I've been talking to Connor about reflavoring some spells to make it more suited, but her spells are sort of a mix of her and the Hunter God. Like leaning towards Hunter God, but like, her own flair in it. Depending on whatever. But so to her right now, her magic kind of feels, how do I explain this?
Feels like someone just softly saying "Hund, Hund, Hund."
Hunt. You must hunt. Yeah, no. You are a hunter. No, it kind of, the feeling is more kind of metaphysical than Gale's. Like it feels like purpose. like she has a goal and she's doing it. Because that's sort of what the hunt is you have the hunt, you have a goal, you're doing it. And that's like your only focus. Just a little
Feels
bit
like
of
a
that.
pat on the back. Got it.
No, it's not about it. So it's so related to that, at least I don't know, I might change my mind later. I don't know. But right now it feels like sharp, but not like it's not like sharp like you're being stabbed. It's sharp like you're wielding something sharp. If that makes any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's very pointed, I guess is the way to say it. I
Like
don't know.
a knife.
It's definitely not warm.
Mhm.
But it's not painful, I guess. If it's painful, it would suck.
It's still
Yeah.
kind of a foreign thing a bit.
Yeah, it's still pretty foreign, and she doesn't necessarily like it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a
That's fair.
Oh, I guess I. I guess I
Nah,
really-
yeah, you
wouldn't
can't. Oh, we're out of time. We got. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, good to know.
Surprise.
Okay. If I remembered, I think Connor said that. I think what Finn mentioned that Maddie had, I don't know, abilities when she was younger. I like to think that maybe her imaginary friends. God, I hate that dog. But the either dog or probably Ella maybe might have like probably taught her. I don't know. Probably even Emily at a certain point, maybe in her younger years before she disappeared. I'd say, and I think in terms of her power, it's like it's connected to her mom somehow. It's like some nostalgic feeling, I guess. But I mean, she doesn't really use it for harmful reasons or anything. It
It
feels
feels like
warm.
a loving hug from like your parents, kind of thing.
Yeah, like a very soft, warm feeling. It feels like you just want to hug it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Though.
Feels
Yeah.
like nostalgia. I really like that description.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that Emily could also cast spells is like, oh, maybe I could connect that somehow. So probably they have something similar, I guess, in a sense. For the other things like Radiant Soul or probably Revivify, this is something she hates. she she didn't ask for this, honestly. I mean, she likes like the simple spells, like prestidigitation and like other things. But like, sure, Revivify. Are you kidding me? Why?
Yeah, I'd imagine that would feel weird to cast.
it'd be weird to cast, but also like, oh, I have a target in my head. If I ever tell this to anyone that I can't trust, that means it's a possibility that I'm in danger if anyone knows about this.
It's fine.
So bad.
Interesting thought to share based off of that. So Maddie knows that essentially she has a target on her head because if people knew that she could cast Revivify, she could revive people. Is there has she made the connection that she got the magic from her mom and that she can do this rare spell yet?
Most likely at this point, just like, well, what the heck are you hiding, Mom? And why? Why now?
That's fair. That's fair. All right. So a couple last questions and we'll start to wrap this on up. So these questions are for everybody. So knowing where Emily is, what are the party's thoughts about going to the place they have never been to help Maddie reunite with her mom? And would we tell Avro the details? And then Kole, for you, hypothetical when Addax kind of hears, based off of where he's at right this second. what do you think his reaction will be?
Oh, am I starting this off? Oh,
We'll start with you, yeah, since I
Sure.
kind of landed that with you.
I think. Oh man. I think he would be very hesitant and not want to go because it's like that is way more than he signed up for. But I feel like because it's Maddie, he'll be like, okay. But it's also just like it would be a major stressor on him. He just like he would not want to go at all because it's like
So much.
it's
That's
like
valid though.
it's kind of circling back to the feeling of magic. He feels like very grounded and like connected to the earth, and in order to go to the hells, we'd have to leave that. And I don't think that'd be a pleasant experience for him. So he does not want to go, but he would for Maddie. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
Question for the audience: would you go to hell for Maddie?
if the answer is no, we're coming.
No, don't say
The answer is no. Why the hell are you watching?
I think for most people, the general answer would be yes.
Oh my god.
And for those who wouldn't agree, it would be because Gail would be like, "No, you're coming with." I guess I'll go next then.
Sure.
I mean, Gail's fucking game. This is one. So again, we're gonna go right back to the fate thing and how things are literally just in Gail's mind, like they're lining up one after another. Maddie and Gail have a discussion about, hey, so your mom's in trouble. All right, cool. I want to help you like get her out, again, because like I lost my mom. I know that you can get your mom back. I want to help you. Maddie's like, okay, cool. It's like, by the way, like you can hurt them if you want to. And Gail's like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck them up. And then he hears one, where it is. It's in one of the hells, and two, it's essentially, okay, cool. These are essentially fiends / demons. This is literally the thing that I have kind of sworn vengeance on to like destroy because they destroyed my family. This is clearly what I'm supposed to do, is to wreck this entire place to the ground. Awesome, let's go. He's ready literally as soon as he gets the go sign. He's like already running at whatever the gate is to head into hell. Like he's ready to go.
So Gail would love like the brute force method. I'm getting Emily out. Let's just go in and kill everything in our past.
Gail would want to be teleported into the center of the citadel, destroy the biggest building, rip the head off the biggest demon, and yell, "Come at me."
Oh my god.
That's how Gail would want to do it. He would want to tear the entire place down and then just casually unlock the door and be like, by the way, we're leaving, and then just walk out of there.
One day
That's
he'll
how
get
Gail
there.
would want to take care of it.
One day.
One day.
It is
So,
the worst idea in the entire world.
That's so very barbarian of him.
It
It's very
really
barbarian.
is.
And I will say, sign of growth. Gail has realized that that is a terrible idea at this point, and that's why he has not suggested it. He's like, this would end very bad. I have seen this before. Okay, however, I'm going to continue to train, and when my time is ready, I will just break everything.
It's like,
Yeah, no, that's that's where he's at. And yeah, and it nothing scares him. Like it doesn't phase him anymore. He's like, I've in his mind, he's literally seen hell before. He's like, I've literally seen this before, and I'm stronger than when I saw it the last time. So I got this.
he will take great pleasure in breaking Emily free. But
Oh,
no,
yeah,
Maddie
no,
and to kill any fiends on fire. It's Christmas for him.
He's just gonna break everything and then break her out. Like that's how it's gonna go. Just everything's gonna break.
Yeah. I guess I can answer for Deah.
I mean, I could answer for Deah, but I don't
You
think
want
that
to
it would
answer
be
for Deah?
accurate.
Go for it. I want to
I
see
would
you try.
die for my waifu.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
We
where
out
you were
here.
going with it.
You let me answer. I
I
don't know why
did.
you let me answer.
I thought it would be funny, and I was right.
It was. You're welcome for that, by the way,
Thank you.
audience.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, she is like super on board. She realizes that charging in there is a bad idea, especially since the dog said it. She also doesn't. I don't think she fully understands how strong and dangerous the place is, like on a conscious level. So, like, she knows, like, Maddie's mom is a warrior and is trapped and is held prisoner. So obviously, whatever's holding her is tough. But I don't think she realizes how tough. But she does realize that it's tough. So she's not going to charge it. She's not going to really vote to charge in. But she definitely wants to make getting Amelie out the top priority right now. And I'm sure she'll be talked down or whatever. But I mean, if there's a way to find an item to either teleport her out or like wish her back or something.
I mean,
that they can find. She's like, let's get it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she'd tell Avro, but she's.
Oh, I guess to answer that part of the question, no. Addax not, because he doesn't want to be a blue cloak. So why would we tell him anyway?
Yeah. I mean, like, she believes in telling Avro everything important that is like that could come up later. This isn't one of those things that like could come up later in her mind. Like it's like it's a personal thing. It's not like we fucked up on a mission. This is our responsibility outside of the blue cloak. So she wouldn't automatically tell Avro that. Except to maybe be like, we're gonna be gone for a few weeks. Maybe.
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing about Gale when it comes to that. Gale's only concern, first of all, he doesn't want the blue cloak. He hates the color on him. It's like, this is not my color. I have an aesthetic. This is not my color. It is too solid. It looks too clean. I don't like it. It doesn't smell like me. So again, it's half of why he was just willing to give it to Addax. He's like, can you please just take this thing from me? Like, I don't.
Bold of you to assume Addax will ever wear his cloak when he gets
Oh my god.
He would never wear it.
Think like, well, I mean, first Gale turned it into a papoose because he's like, all right, well, I can at least like have it on me, but like it's useful now. No, he hates wearing the blue cloak. And his whole thing this whole time has only been like, okay, if Avro's gonna help us, we tell him. If this doesn't concern him, why are we telling him? Like that part has like never clicked with him because Gale's never had like a boss before. I mean, other than like I guess technically like his mom, but he's never been like the type to be like, oh yeah, you're my boss. Like I'm gonna answer to you. You're gonna tell me exactly everything I need to do and when. He's just sort of like, you tell me what needs to be killed. You point me in the direction, let me know the information that could potentially get me killed. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go take care of this thing. You fuck off. So, but now it's like, why are we telling him all of this shit that's like this bad shit? Like, what is he going to do that's gonna help? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are we getting more people involved? Like, that, yeah. He's just, the whole thing's just like so far over his head. He's very confused. But yeah, so yeah, no, he would just be like, actually, to tell you the truth, what would probably happen is he would have the biggest fucking grin on his face and go, we're going to hell. We'll be back. And then he'll be like the last one out and just leave on that bombshell and then come back like mostly singed and like hand him something that's rare. Be like, by the way, find somebody who will pay us for this. And then just like walk off out the bar.
Next up on Avro takes another vacation.
Yeah, my party went into hell, like handed me like, a couple like rare trinkets and then just fucking left to go take care of something else. Like, all right, cool. Add that to the retirement package.
What have
You know
I
how Critical Role
heard?
got those like soul stones? We just had a couple of those and we're like, for you. Here's some human souls, like condensed into a rock for you, Ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're a
By
geez.
the
monk.
way, we found the other 2 floating islands that weren't supposed to exist. We're gonna go find those now. Like, what the fuck did I get my? Like, I knew who
What
I
did
hired, but what the
hire?
fuck? He goes back to all the people that have been giving him all this information on all of us. Like, you fucked up. What? Like, you left out like half the pages about what these fucks are up to and what they've been doing. Oh my god. Anyway, but last question, and then we'll do a real quick lightning round of thoughts of what we're going to be doing next and what to look forward to in the next episode. But thoughts on the weird ass moon dog, starting with Kole.
I haven't met him.
That's right, you haven't met him yet.
Nope.
Easy, done. Becca.
That John Mulaney quote is like, you know those moments where you're just like, adult life is already so weird, this might as well just happen? That's that.
That's fair. Jalli.
Player wise, I hate that dog. Character wise, my god, that dog can talk.
Gale. Elevator music.
Smooth jazz.
Just like, this dog doesn't speak dog, but he clearly speaks human to Maddie. And he hasn't tried to kill Maddie yet, so we're good. All this other shit, he's just telling us where to go. Cool. This is completely normal. All right, let's rock and roll. The full on like Bill and Ted thing, like just let's go.
Just
Yeah.
got smooth jazz.
Exactly. I mean,
I was
that is
literally
Gale's
about to
normal
make that
reaction.
meme. I was literally about to make that meme.
Yeah.
Just like smooth jazz until no, honestly, it's smooth jazz until the heavy metal kicks in, and then he's just running out of the elevator.
Yeah, smooth jazz and then fight time.
Somebody, okay, I'm gonna put this challenge out there. I want somebody to make some sort of a music cut where it's just smooth jazz, and then all of a sudden it fades into Rip and Tear from the Doom soundtrack. Because that's Gale going from normal life to just full on rage, and he's just going at it. Yeah, that's Gale in a nutshell. Just one of 2 moods. All right. Awesome questions. There's been, like I said, there's a lot that happened. A lot of just like, again, I personally think, and I'll start this part off, what I'm expecting going forward in the next episode and what I'm looking forward to. I think that we're starting to crest into some of the bigger stuff that's going on. Obviously, we have a couple big things that we're going to start tackling, and I think it's going to be some big fun stuff that we have coming up. So I'm personally really excited for it. Slightly selfish side, obviously, I'm excited to tell a little bit more of Gale's backstory. If it comes up now, whether or not it will eventually come up clearly. But yeah. I'm excited for big things to happen, big exciting things to happen. But yeah, Jalli, what are you? What about you?
Well, I'm excited that Allie's now coming into the picture. With Maddie's story, because Maddie doesn't really have a backstory when we first started this campaign, so there's like, oh, what could you do with her exactly? But yeah, there's gonna be interesting things to tell Addax about certain things we shouldn't tell, but at this point we kind of have to if we're gonna do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are opening up now, and I'm excited.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Becca.
Smooth jazz.
Yes. Trying not to panic.
Yeah, I do hope that on a more serious note, my hope is that do go south, and that will kind of get us working towards this Maddie plotline, and it will also perhaps bring us into a Roe plotline, because both those characters right now seem to have something far to the south of Odela. And if we need to go south, then that kind of brings us head first into this other drama that we have to potentially avoid, which should be interesting. Be interesting.
Agreed. Agreed. Cool.
So what am I looking forward to?
Yeah, what do you look
Or-
at, like, just real quick, what are you kind of looking forward to in the next episode, and what kind of stuff you think, what kind of direction we're going?
I'm looking forward to the conversations that will occur when Addax comes back, because I don't think it's going to be as sunshine and rainbows as you may think. As for like the direction we're heading towards, yeah, definitely getting more serious and getting heavy. But like as far as Addax is concerned, I feel like I don't know how to word it properly, but basically like you're kind of pulling an Avro on him in the sense that you're grinding him down and eventually he'll break. And when he breaks, it'll be very interesting when that happens. Because he's got a magic shiny button and it's a lot of fun. And it's kind of his stress relief. And we don't want that to happen.
Yay, magic shiny buttons. They're always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see if that gets pushed, and we'll see kind of what direction the whole group is headed this coming Saturday, or if the VOD is already out. The VOD is already out in episode 56, because I actually remembered the number. I almost forgot it.
Proud of
I'm
you.
really excited to check it out. So first, I want to thank Kole, Becca, and Jalli for joining me on episode 3. I want to thank our amazing audience for checking us out for the episode. Guys, thank you. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
I had a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you, audience, for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode of Dicefunction Discussion.